Scapula push up. So we're gonna get down to the quadruped position, which is gonna be hands and knees. Hands are directly under my shoulders, knees directly under my hips, and my toes are curled under. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna float my knees about an inch off the ground, and then I'm gonna let my chest come toward the floor, and then I'm gonna drive my chest toward the ceiling. And I'm trying to get my shoulder blades to move around my rib cage as much as possible when I do this. When I'm in that quadruped position, I want to minimize how much weight shifting I'm doing forward and backward. I want to keep kind of centered. I want to minimize any type of shrugging or keeping those shoulder blades way down and back, because then they're not going to move around the rib cage. And then I want to be mindful of what my low back is doing in space. Am I really arching my back? Am I doing any sort of compensations or shifts side to side? This often works best if you can get in front of a mirror, glance over and see your technique. If you don't have access to a mirror, just set your phone up with the camera back at you so you can get some real-time feedback, or you can even just videotape yourself, watch it, and then kind of do like a test, retest to see if your technique changes. So the idea here is we're training your serratus anterior, and we're trying to progress into a single arm scapula press. So ways that we can progress is we can go from double leg, double arm, to single leg, double arm. And then we can go back to double leg, double arm. And we can add like a yoga block, and that's gonna inherently bias one side over the other. So, whoops, I was getting ahead of myself. I picked up my rear leg there. So I could pick up the rear leg, and I could use the yoga block as well if I wanna bias the left side even more. And if I was wanting to bias the right side even more, elevating that surface. And then I would pick up my right leg and go through those motions again. And then what I've done in the past is I've actually had people stagger their arms a little bit to where I'm biasing my right arm back if I have both feet on the ground. And then if I pick up my right foot, I can bias the right side even more. And then eventually coming here to where I got both feet down, one arm off, and I'm going through that scap pressing motion with just one arm. And then from here, we'll progress into like downward dogs and those types of variations, which you'll see in a different video. But again, being mindful that you're not compensating through too much shoulder shrugging, too much shoulder depressing, or any sort of compensation into that low back area. And we want to see as much movement through those shoulder blades as possible when you're doing this without any compensation downstream. And then a way that you can also regress it, let's say that the scap push-up with your knees floated is too hard, you can simply come down to a quadruped position and do it here. And then if I scoot my knees back to where I'm doing like a modified push-up version of it, that'll increase the demand a little bit more. And then scale back out of that as the strength improves and your ability to tolerate more loading improves.